hit a improvised explosive device out in the desert. Unfortunately, it shattered both my feet and my left arm when I eventually landed. And yeah, the guys did a great job patching me up on the ground, and then I was on the bird back home. So unfortunately, as a result of those injuries, I lost my left leg below the knee. Bit of a scratch there, but yeah, it was a strange way to come back to the family, to be honest.
It must have been, Liz, and difficult time for you, of course, as well.
Yeah, obviously a difficult time. I'd just given birth to Emily, so she was 2 weeks old, and Felix was 2 at the time.
And then your husband comes back and he's had this terrible injury. How did you cope as a family?
I think, well, if you have children, you have to, don't you?
Just get on with it.
Yeah, of course.
I think it was a bit harder, I think, for the people that one step away. So for like my mother, my father, people like that, I think it really, really hurt a lot more than perhaps it hurt us. And I think it's that wider effect on the family that sometimes goes unnoticed. It's very easy to see the physical side of what happened to me, but you know, the kids have been great, and you know, to be fair to them, they've kind of grown up with it. But for my mum, you know, she gave birth to, in her eyes, a beautiful, healthy boy. Clearly, we all know that's a lie. But you know, she then looks at it and sees it in a very, very different way. So I think it's that support for the families that she's really needed that's been most useful.
I'm sure you don't need Remembrance Day to think of the impact of war and to think of those that you've lost and your colleagues and other servicemen and women. But what does it mean for you to have a day like this? Particularly this time, it seems to me, who's not personally touched by it, people have really got involved and wanted to remember and publicly remember.
It's a very emotional time, particularly because we're surrounded by the impact of war, and you know, Tony's lost friends, and we know a lot of injured guys. But also, it's a chance to remember how lucky we are. The idea that Anthony wouldn't have met Emily if he hadn't been patched up and sent home and looked after really well is really important to us.
Yeah, I mean that losing your friends. I know it's 100 years, and you think the scale of the First World War, the 888,000, is such a huge number. I think what the Poppy installation's done is give that visual reference. It's very hard to imagine that number out in front of you, and to see it grow from when I was on the Invictus Games and it was a few poppies coming out of the window of the tower to where it is now is just incredible. And to be part of this, you know, to go and plant the last poppy, it's a chance to not only say thank you to the guys from the First World War, but also to, you know, my friends. You know, I lost 2 guys in Iraq, 2 of our soldiers who, you know, we'll never forget, and then we lost 7 from my company out in Afghanistan, and you know, a lot of them very, very close friends. So I suppose in that respect, it's, you know, that pain and suffering that the families felt in the First World War is exactly the same as the pain and suffering we feel now.